Hello, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
How are you doing?
Great. How are you, Jos?
Very well. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us today. Welcome, everybody who's watching. We could not be more excited. We have some really cool things on the lineup today. Of course, we will start off with a very nice surprise. You might know this person. You might have heard of him if you're watching this live stream. But to start, welcome to Vuejs Amsterdam Online 2022. We're really excited to be here once again. We'll do it one more time online, and after that, we hope to see you in June, on the 2nd and 3rd of June, in person. Well, without further ado, let me introduce my co-hosts of today. Let me kick off with my good colleague from Passionate People. Passionate People is the organization who runs these conferences. Welcome, Anuradha.
Thank you, Jos. I'm super hyped for today.
That's great to hear. Mark, how are you doing? Welcome to Mark Beckes.
Yes, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I really hope this is the last pure online event that we have. I hope the next ones will be in person and hybrid. I'm really looking forward to meeting everyone in person again. But having everyone online is also a nice experience.
Yes, I'm really excited. All the people that are joining us today, for all the people that are joining us today, obviously online. But yeah, we are craving to meet people in person again, to come together as a community in person again. I mean, that's where we kicked off, and I hope that's where we can go back, and hopefully we can add a very nice hybrid solution to that, where people can join all over the world, not just in person, but if you want to be there in person, you can, right?
Yes,
so Mark,
exactly.
What have you been busy with lately? We haven't spoken to each other actually in a very long time.
Yes, that's true. Recently, in January, I joined Vue Storefront as a developer advocate. So I'm really hyped for that.
Congratulations!
I'm working with fantastic people there, building e-commerce front-end platform. And yeah, I'm basically communicating from the company to the community and working together with the community, which is something that just like 1 or 2 years ago I started really getting into and really enjoyed. So I'm super hyped to be in this position where I can do this.
Nice. What about you, Anuradha? I've heard that you recently relocated.
Yeah, I recently got relocated to Netherlands. So yeah, here I am.
Welcome.
Yeah, glad to be working with passionate people, definitely. And I'm glad to be hosting this conference as well. To be honest, I mean, I saw Ivan live for the first time and I was psyched, so I couldn't speak much to him. But yeah, it's awesome. I really hope to see everything in person very soon.
Nice. I think it's really an honor that we are able to receive him today. He has recently moved, and it's really awesome that he is making the time for us to appear here live on stage with us. Before we pull him on stage, I would like to give a big thank you to the team who is making this all possible. Without them, we simply wouldn't be organizing these conferences. The conferences or this conference is organized by passionate people, and I want to give a specific shout out to our CEO and founder, Luke Thomas. Without him or without his initiative, none of this is possible. A specific shout out also to Nick van Dijk. He's helping me a lot with sponsorships and operations. A big thank you for the tech support that we have had all week already, because we have been running multiple days, to Christopher and Lewis. Next to that, we have a great marketing team that is helping us out with all the promotions around these days. So big thank you to Rika and our interns, Valeria and Farah. Then I also would like to thank our MCs. One MC is missing at this moment this morning because he couldn't make it, unfortunately. That is Janos Keel. He's been helping us all week already. You will see him later on in the day. Thank you to Anuradha for helping me MC. Thank you to Mark Backus. You probably know him. He has done quite some amazing work so far over the past years. So we're really excited to have you. Thank you so much, Mark. And not to forget, there's one person sitting here. She never wants to appear on camera, but she's sitting she's sitting on this side. Her name is Nicolette Brandner, and I really, really want to give her a big, big applause because she has been pulling all the streams and everything together to make sure that everything is running smoothly on screens for us. So thank you very much, Nikki. Last, for sure not least, all the intros that you're seeing, all of the designs that you're seeing is done by our great, great colleague, Letizia. Letizia is our designer, and she has done all the amazing work animation-wise. I think that was my only big thank you that I wanted to do for today. Mark, do you have something to say to the public still?
Yes, well, I hope you all enjoy this conference because I look through the lineup and there are some not only fantastic people but also fantastic topics. And I also hope to meet many of you in June because I've been looking forward to this actually since 2020, since I was there for the first time, and it got postponed and postponed and postponed again. And I finally look for meeting you there all again.
Likewise. Anuradha, some last words you would like to say to the crowd before we continue?
Yeah, I would like to say similar. I mean, the lineup is great, and yeah, learn from the best. All the, I guess, core members are there speaking, Vue core members, Nux core members, and also the amazing speakers. So there are some amazing topics. Go ahead and learn a lot from the best.
Yes. Well, then, without further ado, I hope that everybody who's watching in the chat, wherever, we are publishing in a few places at the moment. Can we please give a big, big applause for the person who made this all possible in the first place? His name is Evan Yu, the creator of Vue. Welcome him to the stage. Evan!
Hello!
Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you
Evan.
doing?
Hey.
Hello, everyone. All right. So should I just get into it, or are we going to chat a
Yeah,
little bit?
we can give you the official introduction. I don't know, Mark. Do you want to say something still to Evan?
Yes, I remember, Evan, when we met the first time in Vuejs Amsterdam. It's like almost to the date 2 years ago. I was so excited to meet you and at the same time super nervous. And I couldn't even imagine that I would like, in the meanwhile, like a few times. And it's always great speaking to you. So it's great having you again. And yes, I think there's not much introduction to do. Creator of Vue.js, creator of Vite. Apparently, everything you touch turns to gold or to green. Actually, white is not green. White is yellow and purple, right? But you know what I mean?
Anuradha, a few last words to Evan before he goes off presenting live.
Yes, sure. So I'm of course meeting him first time like online, but I am really looking forward to meet you someday in person. I really like Vue, so I have never worked on it in office work, but always on personal projects. And really, thank you for creating it. It is so awesome, and the community is so nice. I love the Vue community and like to get involved
you.
with it. So thank you so much, and I'm super psyched to hear what you have to say today. I mean, yeah.
All right. Cool.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you so much, Evan, for being here with us today. Of course, without you, this wouldn't be possible. So a big shout out from the Vue Amsterdam crowd, and I think the community in general. We won't hold anyone any longer. We will leave it up to you to do what you do best. Good luck on your presentation, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you. Okay, so in this talk, I'll be talking about the brand new Vue.js.org alongside our newly Vue3 default version switch. If you have not caught up about it, please go to Vuejs.org, see the new website. There's also a link at the top of the new website. It's already live. So you see a little green banner at the top here. There is a link that links to a blog post with the full details of the default version switch. If you have not read that blog post yet, make sure to check it out. So in this talk, I'm going to be mainly focusing on some of the content side of the new documentation side, and also the performance and implementation details behind it. So in the talk following this one, Kia, who was mainly responsible for most of the visual design of the website and also the initial implementation of the theme, is going to talk about more details on the design and the code side of things. So I'm going to be focusing more on the content and the performance. All right, so let's get into it. Start, I'm going to go over some of the major new things that wasn't previously present in the V2 docs. First, obviously, is dark mode with some pretty fancy gradients. We also have responsive design. The site is fully responsive, adapting to all widths. Looking also very nice on mobile. We also shipped a brand new interactive tutorial. So this is something I want to show actually in person. So this is the actual tutorial. As you can see, we have the content here. We have a live repo here. So this is a live playground that we can edit, and you'll see the content updating real time. So every step, there is going to be a little challenge. Okay. So for example, in this step, there's going to be something that you can complete here. And I can actually ask it to complete the example for me here. So I'm cheating, but if you're going through the tutorial yourself, make sure to try to figure out every step yourself so that you can learn things faster. And also, if you already know things, it helps you get a more solid understanding of how everything works. Especially, this is especially helpful if you are coming from Vue 2, previously only worked with Options API, and want to check out Composition API with Vue 3. So going through the tutorial with the API preference set to composition is the recommended way to do it, right? Notice that the whole tutorial, throughout this whole tutorial, there are like so many steps. For every single step, you can toggle between Options API and Composition API at any time. Also, if you prefer to learn Vue without using build tools, without using single file components, you can also switch to the HTML format so that everything is inside a single HTML file. And you can actually copy and paste this using our base setup, and it'll work without a build step. So that's the tutorial. Now let's go back to the presentation. And we also have the updated and new examples. So the example page now, again, also uses the same REPL. So every single example that you see here comes with the same toggles. So you can switch between single file components and no build step, Options API and Composition API. So we have a list of basic examples that covers the core features, the most basic features of Vue. Then we have the previous, the classic examples that's currently present also on, that's previously present also on the Vue 2 docs. So we have the markdown editor, data fetching, the grid, the tree, SVG, modal with transitions, this list with transitions, and of course the classic to do MVC. And we also added a whole new section called the 7 GUIs. 7 graphic GUI stands for graphical user interfaces, right? So this is a project by Eugene. So I'm going to copy paste the link here. So this is the project. So it describes 7 tasks in UI development that a UI development framework or a paradigm should try to tackle. So the 7 tasks are a counter, temperature converter, fly booker, timer, a CRUD example, a circle drawer with undo and redo, and an Excel sheet. So all of these are implemented using Vue. Again, with Options API and Composition API, you can switch between them and see how they're done. Oh, okay. All right, so the next is the improved API index. We have a new API page. So previously in Vue2 docs, we had the entire API inside a single page. While that works to some extent, it wasn't super easy to find the things instantly. And also, it loads slower when you have everything on the same page. It also makes it difficult for us to organize and edit things. So we broke up into different sections. So now the new API index gives you interactive filtering. So if I'm looking for reactive, or I'm looking for everything that has relation to refs, or I'm going to look for everything that has relation to watch, right? So it quickly filters down to the relevant APIs so that you can quickly not only find the things you need, but also have a good idea of all the things in Vue's entire API reference that has to do with the topic that you're interested in. And of course, the most important part, the main guide of the website, has been completely, significantly reworked, right? So we improved the organization. We moved things around, reorganized the groups and sections so that it fits better with the new flow that we want for Vue3. We also added a few new chapters. So we're going to go a bit deeper into those. But more importantly, the entire guide is now rewritten with both API styles in mind. So again, on every single page, you can switch between Options API and Composition API. So all the code examples will switch automatically between them. So there are different ways you can use the new guide. You can learn Vue from top to bottom with one API style. You can relearn Vue, for example, coming from Vue2. You can relearn Vue with Composition API from top to bottom, or for a specific topic, you can read the same guide in two different styles to compare the differences and connections between the two styles. And the reason that we can actually do this, we're able to do this, is because the two styles still share fundamentally the same underlying concepts. So this is a testimony for how Vue is the same Vue underneath, but we just have different API as higher level interfaces that you can use it with, right? So some of the important reworked sections. First, the TypeScript guide, right? Our previous TypeScript guide wasn't satisfactory. So now the new TypeScript guide covers a lot more advanced topics. For example, it gives you very detailed project setup explanations, even though the new Create Vue CLI, so the replacement of Vue CLI, which is called Create Vue, you can already scaffold pre-configured TypeScript projects, but we still try to explain everything we do here. It has recommendations for IDE support, details on tsconfig JSON, details on takeover mode, which is a feature of the Volar extension, which is the new recommendation. And we have some generic usage notes on when you're using Vue with TS. It explains some important things that may not be very instantly obvious. For example, how to use line equals TS in single file components. And the fact that you can use TypeScript inside template expressions. I bet a lot of you still don't know that, but you can actually do that now with Vue3. Then we have two additional dedicated sections for tips on using TypeScript with Composition API or Options API. So in each, we go through a lot of these recipes on how to type certain APIs with TypeScript. So we have now a much more complete coverage of how to use TypeScript with Vue in general. The next rework section is reactivity in depth. So a lot of you probably have read about this one or have attended some of the workshops or watched videos of me talking about Vue's reactivity systems. But this time we really rewrote the whole thing so that it's up to date. It reflects the latest implementation in Vue 3, and it comes with a lot more details than the previous version in the docs. So it's highly recommended to give this a read if you have not. Another one is the rendering mechanism. So in the previous versions of the docs, the rendering mechanism section only briefly talks about virtual DOM, and that's pretty much it. But in this version, we go much deeper than that. We explain what virtual DOM is. We explain how Vue compiles templates into virtual DOM, and we explain some of the, most importantly, some of the compiler techniques that the Vue compiler applies to make the virtual DOM runtime faster than what a plain virtual DOM can be, right? So, so this helps you understand some of the internal optimizations that Vue does for you under the hood. Now, some of the important new chapters. The first is the composables guide. So composable is now the official name of those functions that you extract that uses composition APIs that return stuff. So also known as the use stuff functions, right? The functions that start with use, blah, blah, blah. Now, so this new page tried to define what a composable is. It introduces how to write one yourself with basic samples, then goes into more advanced ones, then gives you some best practices and tips, and then links you to more advanced content elsewhere, and also talks a little bit about testing. Right, so I believe this is going to be very helpful if you're just getting into Composition API, or you want to level up your understanding of Composition API and learn to start extracting and reusing logic yourself with Composition API. And then we also have a new tooling guide. So this is important because over the course of launch in Vue 3, we updated so many stuff. We are now having a brand new Vite-based toolchain. We have new dev tools. We have new IDE support extensions. So all of these things combined together, we really need a new coherent place for people to use as a reference to understand what is the latest and greatest recommendations. So this page serves as that. So it will cover online IDEs, the recommended scaffolding tool, the recommended build setup, the recommended IDE, linting, testing, and everything and all that. And then we also have a new performance guide. The performance guide covers, it tries to attack the concept of performance from a higher level idea. Essentially, we try to explain that when it comes to performance, right, generic web performance is a lot more than just the framework. It also has to do with optimizing your images, optimizing your server, and all that. So, so we try to link you first to tips and resources that can help you understand web performance on a higher level. And then we dig into framework-specific concepts, and we try to divide the concepts into page load performance versus update performance. And we dig into a lot of Vue-specific techniques that you can use to deal with, to improve the performance of your app, if necessary, right? Most of the time, you don't need to worry about it. Speaking of performance, right? This new site is extremely performant. It's blazing fast. So this is the fresh score that I did just before the talk, using pagespeed.web.dev. So it's an official Google site that uses Lighthouse on their server to profile your page. And this setting, the mobile setting, is an emulated Moto G4, which is a low-tier, mid to low-tier Android device with a slow 4G throttling. So it simulates a kind of slow device on slow network. And our new website still gets a 100 performance score, right? So even on a low-end machine, the whole site loads fast, displays fast. There's very little total blocking time, right? 90 milliseconds of JavaScript execution on a slow device. So this score is actually pretty hard to get because I would encourage you to use pagespeed.web.dev to profile some of the other major static site generators or documentation sites. You know, compare the scores and you'll see the difference. And contrary to the common misconception that only static HTML can be fast, our new website is in fact a single-page application. It has SPA navigation. And we also do some pretty smart optimizations. For example, it intelligently prefetches links that are currently in the viewport. So for example, on mobile, by default, I can actually, I don't know if I can demonstrate this live. Let me actually try to do that. So I'll go to Vue.js.org. Let's look at the network tab. Disable cache is enabled. Oh, wait. I don't think everyone can see this because I'm not on. Wait. Cannot see this because I was on incognito. Okay, so network, disable cache. So let me refresh this. So as you can see, so make sure to ignore this one. This is injected by a local extension. So the JavaScript, as we can see, is pretty tiny, 48 kilobytes of JavaScript, and that's largely all the JavaScript you ever load for this whole website. The page itself, this is the page.js. The page.js itself is 1.9 kilobytes, which is super light. And when I open the, okay, so I go here. So when I open this sidebar menu, notice the network bar. It prefetches all these links because now they're coming into view. So now when I click on them, the navigation is instant. You don't have to wait. Every link here is going to be instant. There's no page reload. There is no re-evaluation of the JavaScript. There's no relayout of CSS. There is no hydration again, right? So this is why once the page loads, which is already pretty fast, the subsequent navigations are even faster. All right, so. Okay, so now let's talk about what is this site built with. This is built with, obviously, VitePress. VitePress is the spiritual successor to VuePress. So if you're still using VuePress, it is time to consider switching over to VitePress because it's on Vue3, it's on Vite, it's lighter, faster, and it also builds faster websites. Now, sites built with VitePress are performing out of the box. So it is a static site generator. However, it hydrates your site into a single-page application once after the initial load. It also intelligently eliminates the double payload problem for static site generators. So one problem that we previously had with VuePress is that the Markdown is in fact compiled into JavaScript. Now we send the content as HTML first, then we send the content again as JavaScript, and then hydrate the static content, which is pointless. So with VitePress, we in fact leverage some of the compiler optimizations in Vue3 to automatically detect all the static parts in your Markdown, and then we eliminate them from JavaScript payload, and we also never attempt to hydrate them because we don't need to, right? So the result is that for the static content parts, it's actually partial hydration. Automatically partial hydration. And we call this Vue enhanced Markdown. So the Markdown is still compiled as Vue template, which means you can, in fact, use Vue syntax inside Markdown files. You can even use script setup inside Markdown files when you're using VitePress. All the dynamic bits that you embed inside our Markdown file is automatically partial hydrated. They're efficiently partially hydrated. And all the static parts are left alone. They're skipped. They're also stripped from the initial JavaScript payload automatically. And you can develop your theme of a VitePress site you can develop a fully custom theme using everything you know about Vue, everything you are used to, single file components, TypeScript, everything that Vite supports, you can use it in the VitePress theme. It's just like a normal Vue application. And the result of this is what the term that I've coined for this is called shell hydration, because for every VitePress site, right, we have the theme, which is the outer shell of our application. This is fully hydrated by Vue, and because it contains a lot of dynamic things, right? For example, these dynamic dropdowns, switches, toggles, search boxes, and this actually needs to be dynamically updated when you switch pages, right? Same as this. So all of these are, in fact, fully dynamic parts that need to be hydrated. But the main content of the page, usually thousands of DOM nodes, they are largely static. Some pages are fully static. But for example, this page, we embedded a little inline demo here. So VitePress will intelligently only hydrate this part and skip everything else. So this is why I call this shell hydration, because we have an interactive shell and automatic partial hydration for the content inside. Now, specifically for Vue.js.org, we also have a bunch of custom optimizations that makes this fast. So we have lazy loaded Algolia search box. Again, if you go to the site and look at the network tab, the code for the search box is loaded only when you click on the search box or when you hit the Command K or Control K hotkey. We also lazy initialize all the right sidebar content, which is the sponsors and ads that you saw in some of the screens. So on narrower screens, they're not shown, so we don't even load them by default. And then we also pre-optimize all those sponsor images. Some of them are pretty big, so we pre-optimize them into smaller ones. We even generate an alternative AVIF version for them and load them in supported browsers. So all of this combined together results in a super performance site, despite having a lot of advanced content in the dynamic bits and interactive pieces that I've demonstrated previously. So despite adding all these features, it stays fast. And that is it for the new Vue.js.org. So I hope you go to the website, read it, and I hope you enjoy the new content. I hope it makes your Vue learning experience, development experience more enjoyable. And yeah, so then Kia will talk more about the design aspect of the site. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you, Evan. That was great. Thank you so much for presenting.
Thank you.
I think the chat went pretty wild. I don't know, Mark, if you have seen some of it, or if you have any questions for Evan at this moment in time.
Yeah, first, congratulations on the site. You can see that there's a lot of work and thought going into it, which I appreciate as a user of it. Also, I forgot to tell you before, but I really wanted to tell you, congrats on making Vue3 the default. I think it's a big deal, maybe a bigger deal than some would think, but I think it's great to see this kind of progress. Brackets closed. I'm looking now for some questions from the audience. Most of it is like cheering.
That's great.
Great tool. I love the hybrid, how do you say, the approach of option and composition API, learning it side by side, or one after the other, or just one, or the one you want, the one you need. Nice. So, someone asks
with the new docs, Mark.
Not a lot yet. I just saw the presentation now. I just saw the website, which is new, but the new docs I haven't used. There's one question: how is accessibility?
Oh, that's a great question. We actually had Linus, who's a core team member, and also we also had some external help from the community that worked on a specific round of accessibility checks and improvements. So I believe the site is pretty accessible. So like we have fully full keyboard navigation support. We added all the 11 attributes for the necessary parts. So I haven't really make it go through the strictest possible accessibility checks, but based on the Lighthouse auditions, it's pretty good. So yes, we did allocate a dedicated cycle to work on accessibility for the site.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. Another question from the same person, Karwak. How easy is it to use MDX with VitePress?
The short answer is you cannot, because MDX is JSX with Markdown. So the secret sauce of VitePress is essentially treating Markdown, first convert it into HTML, then treat the HTML as Vue template, so that we can use Vue components and Vue syntax inside of it, and also leverage some of the compiler optimizations that the Vue compiler offers. So if you use MDX, you basically lose all of that. So unfortunately, it's just. But if you use Vue, right, it's nicer to actually use Vue syntax inside Markdown instead of JSX.
All right, thank you. What else? Is Vite only for wiki sites, or can it be used for other use cases in specific?
So it is primarily, I would say documentation sites is probably the best use case for VitePress, but it's definitely not limited to it. For example, our new official blog is also built with VitePress. So you can use VitePress to build blogs. It does have an interesting feature that allows you to essentially do file system work at build time. And then essentially you can use Node.fs APIs, file system APIs, to scan for blog posts, extract the metadata, then feed it into your runtime as static JSON. And then your runtime theme can use that JSON to render, say, a list of blog posts, or even implement dynamic runtime search yourself. So it's very flexible in that sense. But again, it's a static site generator. So this static data mechanism that I just talked about, you can even do data fetch in that, not just limited to file systems. So you can say use a headless CMS, like Contentful or Storyblock. Then inside your VitePress data script, you can fetch data from your backend CMS and then feed it back into VitePress to build the site. So this is all possible.
Right, cool. One more question. Are there specific themes ready, or is there a guide to develop like new themes for VitePress?
So there are no current existing themes. You can reference the official theme, or you can reference our blog theme as starting points. In fact, I believe Kia is going to talk about a new default theme for VitePress in his talk. So stay tuned for that. But again, the nice thing is a VitePress theme is essentially a Vue component. So if you know how to write a Vue component, you know how to make a VitePress theme. It's just that easy. Well, we have some VitePress specific APIs. In fact, I don't think the current documentation is very up to date, but later this year, we're going to do a push for VitePress 1.0. So we'll have the new theme. We'll have better documentation for the APIs, maybe some examples on how to build your own theme, and then it'll become 1.0.
Talking about
Nice.
Kia, he's actually in the chat with us. Shall we pull him on stage real quick? Just say hello real quick.
Sure, yeah.
Hey, Kia, you're still on mute, just for you to be aware of, but welcome.
Hi, Kia.
Hey.
At the bottom, I think you will find the unmute button in StreamYard.
I think Command D.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hey.
Hello. Evan already gave you a little bit of an introduction of what is to be expected in a few minutes from you.
I think I already spoiled your tease.
Yeah. I just wanted to come here and complain about that, but
I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm going to talk about the new design and all the website-related stuff, and maybe a small teaser. I don't know what that's going to be, but some secret news.
Okay.
Ooh, the community loves secret news, I think.
Yeah. At least
All
whoever
right.
didn't watch your talk, it's going to be secret. So.
Yeah. So if they're checking now, we're still good.
It's still secret. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone who left early misses the party.
I hope they
All
do.
right, Kia. We see you,
Okay.
Kia. We see you back in 15 minutes after we close off with Evan. We will take a quick break so people can start processing of all the amazing things they just heard, and then we will be back in a few minutes.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Kia. Yes, thank you.
All right.
Mark, any other questions that you would like to ask Evan?
For the moment, not. There were some things in the chat, something that I think I also asked you on Twitter once. What's the recommended extension for Vue3, Volar or Viter? Just for everyone to be updated on this.
Yeah, the new recommendation is Volar. So all of this is actually all specifically documented on the new site. So go to the new site, read the new quick start or the new tooling page. It covers everything you need to know.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that would be everything from my side. Jos, anything else?
No, I just want to say thank you so much, Evan, for being with us again today online. We hope that we can have you back in a few months, whether it be on live stream or however. Then people can hear the latest updates from Theater Amsterdam from you again. I'm pretty sure that we can find a way to get you on the big screen over there, even from far, far away. Really looking forward to all the amazing things that are happening right now with the community, with Vue, and the amazing things that you're doing with Vite. I want to say thank you very much for being here with us today, and I hope we can stay in touch soon again.
Yep. Thank you. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Evan.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
See you. All right.
Okay. Wow, Mark, what did you think?
Great. I didn't check out the website, yes, but the docs yet, and I will definitely check it out because it's next level thing. It solves one big problem, in my opinion, that Vue was struggling with, because in the old docs it referenced almost exclusively the like how to add Vue.js to an existing website. And this really shows you how to make a single page Vue application and that kind of stuff. So it's meant for all cases. It covers it really well. You can apparently go through it like auto options and composition API. You can go through it in different paths. Whatever are your needs are. Maybe you have to support a legacy Vue2 app, or you just want to learn Vue3 and go much more into composition API. And I think the docs are going to do a great job educating the public even more on how to use it and get started.
Nice. We're moving forward. We are going to have a quick break right now. We will be back in 15 minutes with Kia King. He is going to do a little bit of a spoiler. He just let us know, so don't leave yet. After that, we will move the live stream to our video platform. Our video platform can be reached via jsworldconference.com/live. We have been running conferences here for the whole JavaScript community all week already. So please stay in this stream on YouTube for Kia. We will also take his questions live here. So no need to move yet. We will also instruct you on where to go afterwards. But in case you're already keen to go check it out, please do so. I will leave you to it. I will let you go get some coffee, take a little bit of a break, or tea, or whatever drink is your preference at this moment in time. I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Without our sponsors, really nothing is possible, to be honest. If we do not have the financial support to do this, we cannot run these conferences. And therefore, I would like to give a specific shout out to Passionate People, who is the organizer of these conferences. Next to that, I'm going to do them all in one row. So please pay attention. They're very important to us. They also have their online booths. They're all running amazing giveaways, webinars, prizes. So please go check it out on the online platform that we will advocate after this. But first, I will read them all out to you. So please pay attention. Thank you very much to The Graph, or At Your Notes, you might know him from. Thank you very much to Storyblock. We are actually using Storyblock as our for our websites. Thank you to SourceGraph, the universal code search. Thank you to Progress Can Do UI. Later on, go check out their booth because they're giving away a Bose headset. Thank you to Twilio. Thank you to Cloudinary. They're also giving away some amazing things. They're doing a $100 gift card for Amazon giveaway. Go check it out in the booth later on. Thank you to Sauce Labs. Thank you to Backmarket. We've known Backmarket for a very long time, and we are very grateful for their support. Thank you very much, Backmarket. Thank you to HBO Max or Warner Bros. Thank you to, you might know this company, you probably heard of it. Mark already spoke a little bit about them. Apparently, he's doing developer advocacy for them right now. Philip has been supporting us with amazing, amazing talks from the year that we kicked off, since 2018. Therefore, special thank you, Vue Storefront. Thank you very much for financially supporting us. Big thank you to Firebase. A big thank you to Getstream. And a big thank you to the Ethereum Foundation. Next to that, we also have the support of Uber. Uber is actually hiring right now, and we're really excited about that. So please go check them out. They have amazing jobs available now throughout Europe, but also specifically in Amsterdam. Thank you to Balsamic for their diversity sponsorship. Thank you to Sanity for their sponsorship. And thank you to Strappy. They're running their own conference. Please go check it out. StrappyConf, it's called. Thank you for your partnership. We are very excited about all of the support that we get from the community, that we get from the companies. Please go take your break, and we will see you back in 11 minutes from now.
All right, see you soon.
With the widest range of real and virtual devices, enterprise app distribution, and accelerated debugging, Sauce Labs helps you achieve quality at speed throughout the mobile app development lifecycle. To learn more, visit saucelabs.com today.
Always somebody around that guides you towards achieving your goals, passionate people.
Passionate people really helps you grow and get the best out of yourself.
I see all the stuff that they are doing and I want to be part of.
If you want to be in a team that is looking at you as someone that will build stuff that matters, passionate people is the place.
We're a very diverse team and it's a very open place for you to connect with people that you're working with.
The Twilio Devs channel is here to teach you things in a fun and hopefully entertaining way.
You'll get up-to-date news on what's important for Twilio developers, and we produce new content for you all the time.
Een verschil maken begint met vandaag innoveren, om te zorgen voor morgen. En dat geldt ook voor ons. Want Tikkie blijft niet eeuwig nieuw. Daarom zoeken we mensen die een verschil maken. Zoals jij, begin bij ons.
widest range of real and virtual devices, enterprise app distribution, and accelerated debugging, Sauce Labs helps you achieve quality at speed throughout the mobile app development lifecycle. To learn more, visit saucelabs.com today.
Always somebody around that guides you towards achieving your goals, passionate people.
Passionate people really helps you grow and get the best out of yourself.
I see all the stuff that they are doing and I want to be part of.
If you want to be in a team that is looking at you as someone that will build stuff that matters, passionate people is the place.
We're a very diverse team and it's a very open place for you to connect with people that you're working with.
Hello, everybody. We are back live on screen. Welcome, Kia.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Kia, how are you doing?
Great, great. I'm doing great. I mean, how can I be not great? I'm in Vuejs Amsterdam.
Exactly.
Finally, again.
Hopefully in June in person, but for now, I think everybody's thrilled to hear what you have to say. Evan already spoiled some things, but I don't think that's going to ruin the surprise anyway. We're really excited for you to be here. So one more time, thank you very much for that. For everybody that is watching, I hope you had a nice little break. I hope you're ready for the next talk. I hope that you just processed everything that Evan has brought to you. And now we are returning to a new core team member. Well, not a new core team member, but another core team member, let's say. His name is Kia King. Mark, I will let you do the rest of the introductions because my technical knowledge doesn't stretch far enough to give a proper introduction that Kia deserves.
Of course.
So please take it away.
Yes, so welcome again, Kia. I think it's been a while since we catched up sometime last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the time flies so fast. So yeah, Kia is well, I want to clarify this. You are or you were on the Vuex, working on Vuex for the Vue.js. Is that still going on now with Pina? Or is that not active anymore?
Yes, I'm still working on Vuex. I'm sorry I'm being a little bit busy these days and I'm not super active on Vuex right now, but I'm still looking at Vuex. And it's, yes, Pina is the new default, but we need to support Vuex as the current version. So I'm still working on Vuex, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yes, and today you are going to talk to us about the design of the new Vue.js website. As we already saw, there went a lot of thought into it and a lot of work. And I think we're really excited to see what else is in there and what are some more thinkings behind how some things are done and why.
Yes, I'm going to talk about the design and not only a graphical design, but also how we manage like repositories and how we actually write the actual code of Vue code and such. So you will learn about design as well, but also how you can contribute to this new design development and documentation contribution. Yes.
All right, that sounds awesome. So I would say take it away, Kia, with this talk.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Mark. So, hello everyone, I'm Kia, and today I'm going to talk about Vue.js, all new design. And I also already spoke a little bit, but I'm going through all the design process, and also to show you how the actual website is built on GitHub, and how you can, and I'll navigate through them so that you can have more deep understanding on how all the architecture works, and so that you can jump in and start contributing, or you may learn something from the code base. So before going into the topics, please let me introduce myself a little bit more. I'm Kia Ishii. I'm Vue.js core team member, and mainly I'm focusing on Vuex, but lately I've been busy, so I'm not so active on GitHub right now, but also I'm looking at VitePress as well. And I'm working at Global Brain, which is one of the largest Japanese venture capital. By the way, I'm from Japan, and I'm live streaming from Japan right now. If any startups watching this video, and if you have any interest on fundraising, please let me know. Maybe I can help. So enough about myself. So today I'm going to talk about the Vue.js org new website design. So this is the actual currently public Vue.js website. And so I want to talk about how we come to this new design and what was the initial draft of the design and such. Maybe this is a secret. I think no one has ever revealed the initial draft on Twitter or anything. But we had this new documentation website discussion quite a long time ago. It wasn't really talking about design, but we were always talking about how we can make this documentation or website better. And the refactoring documentation contents has been going on so long, and finally it came to life. But at the same time, me and Ben, the other core team member, was secretly under the hood. We were discussing about the new design of Vue.js website. And to show you the initial draft, we came up with something like this. Oh, sorry. So something like this, which was the initial draft of the homepage. And I was looking into this initial draft, and I saw the current design was pretty much as is as I designed, but it turned out to be, it wasn't really. I mean, it became really different. But this was the initial draft of the homepage design. And I showed this on Discord channel to the other core team member, and everybody seems to like it. And we developed, we refactored the design, and finally we get we've done the implementation, and now it's live. But at the beginning, we had this, for example, we had this Vue blog announcement on the top page. And also, I thought maybe it could be cool to have this kind of video previews, because Vue has lots of videos out there. So maybe I thought it was nice to have this kind of video page on the homepage. But mostly, I just wanted to put this Tolsten image on the homepage. I mean, look at him. He looks so happy. He looks so confident. I thought this would kind of be fun to have it, but it's just taking up too much space, and it doesn't add so much value, so we had to ditch it. But this was kind of the very, very initial draft of the homepage. And also we had this docs page for the initial preview. And mostly we really wanted this docs theme, right? Because currently most of the website or documentation out there has light theme and dark theme, and obviously we should have one too. But also it was kind of hard to, we didn't want to really redesign or rebrand Vue. We just wanted to make the current website better, not like different stuff, but just better. And we put lots of thought in how we should manage like navigation or sidebars, and also we need to put like sponsors and ads for the website. And these things tend to become really aggravating, right? Because no designer really put in many details on these kind of sections. But I wanted to make every piece of the aspect as beautiful as possible. So even sponsors, logos, and also these ads, and everything should be fit into the design, and it should be thought beforehand, like it should be built into the design. So the design concept was really the refinement of the website, not redesign or reblending, because Vue has already a good blending with this bright green color and dark blue colors, and this logo is standing out. And we never spoke about rebranding Vue to make Vue different thing, or to have different looks and feel. I wanted to really keep the same look and feel, but with slightly more modern UI, and make it just efficient and sophisticated, not just totally different stuff, but so you come to the new website and you can still feel that it's the same Vue. We didn't change ourselves, right? Vue didn't become the new thing, but it just became more sophisticated and looking good. And also, while designing it, and this is pretty hard to really show you with this mockup, but we wanted to make website development much easier and also easier to translate. And we needed to put lots of our effort into these kind of stuff. And Vue website is not just one single website, right? If you have only one single landing website and homepage, you can just create any design you want. But we also need to think about how the translation will be done. Who is translating the documentation? Where are we going to put those documentation? How are we going to host them? And whilst you think about those things, there are some limitations there is. For example, if you have all the translations built into the same repository, or if you have translation on different repository and different deployments and different team members working on different things at the same time, it's going to cause lots of conflict. And we wanted to minimize those development values because of this website. And also the harder part was that Vue.js website is pretty much all about documentation. So the main content is always going to be docs. And those are everything written in Markdown. But we do have other things too. For example, this theme pages. This is not really Markdown website, right? We can't express this card component on a Markdown, but the translation has to translate for example, the left side content. So how can we do that? If we copy all the HTML to the different repository, then it's really going to be hard to merge the latest change from the English documentation to another translation documentation. So those kind of things was really put into this design effort. And this is pretty much all about the design process. I mean, we just showed this new draft and initial draft, and everybody liked it. So we just head into actually developing it. And all the design tweaks was made during the development process. So that was pretty agile and quick. And I would like to go through more about like new features we have in this website from now on. So the design, as you can see, that was the initial draft, and the live design you can see on the website. But there are actually lots of features we've added already to the website. And let me go through those features live. So here is the actual website. And the first thing you might notice is that we have this light dark mode. And well, it's no surprise, right? I mean, these days, which website doesn't have light and dark mode? But we've made lots of effort into like transitions. Like, look at this. I mean, maybe you're seeing it a little bit laggy because I'm live streaming, but this change transition is quite smooth. It's not like flash change, right? It has beautiful, smooth transition. And that's pretty much it. But we have made lots of these small, detailed care into this implementation. And I like the dark mode better. So I'm just gonna go through with dark mode. Another part, the docs has been rewritten. And I think you have heard Evan's talk about this contents, but the whole contents was redesigned from the ground up. And there were lots of review internally going on, how we should construct these document structure and such. So please go through and read the documentation again. I bet you will find a new thing all over the place. And even if you're a professional Vue user, I think you will find something that you can learn from. And also we have tutorials, which is interactive tutorials. So you can click next and go through step by step. And these places are really live development environment. So you can make any tweak, and this is live updated. And we have example as well, which is also this live component you can use and modify and do anything you want here. And this is a pretty new thing. Before we had this live development environment into Vue, but we were using CodePen. Now we use SFC Playground, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And this brings you a quite impressive experience on the website. I mean, look at the speed. When you refresh the website, you just get the instance update on this page. You don't have to wait for the CodePen or another platform to load up all the JavaScript. It works especially very good with Vue. And this example in the tutorials is kind of hidden on the menu, but I think it's pretty nice, especially for newcomers to see this and follow these steps. So if you know any new Vue developers, like your friend or your colleague trying to dive into Vue or start new from scratch, please navigate them to this tutorials example. They can play around with Vue and they can understand pretty much what you can do with Vue here. And also, I think already everyone has told this, but we have this option composition API switch here. So even this works in example and playground as well. So if you change options composition, it changes it instantly, HTML to SFC. So you can choose what kind you can choose your preference here, and you can see the exact thing that you need to see. So you don't have to go through. You don't have to scroll over options API to find composition API related stuff. You can just always switch here. And this works for tutorials as well. Tutorials, we have composition options, and these are built with SFC Playground, which is you can access through here. And also this SFC Playground has been out for so long. And if you already know this, then there's nothing new I would like to add. But if you haven't tried this yet, please go to this SFC Playground. It's super nice feature to have. You can write any Vue SFC component here, and it's live updated. So you can test out the new thing, or you can learn about new APIs of the Vue and just test out, or you can create some super simple prototype here and test out new libraries and such. You can import anything within here. Now it's only importing Vue, but if you want to add any other libraries, you can add import map here, and then you can use that external package here and see how it works. You can see JS output, CSS output, SSL output, and this is pretty helpful. Like what actually you get out from this component, you can see live over here. But the best thing of this SFC Playground is that you can share the code to anyone else. So if you click this share button here, the URL is being copied. So you notice that I changed hello world here to edited. And if we share this URL, then you can share this code to anyone else with this single URL. This is pretty quick too. So if you find some interesting idea and you want to share it, but you just don't want to push that to the GitHub, it's time consuming, you can use this SFC Playground to do that. But also, another good thing you can do about this is that to report a bug report. For example, you're using Vue, you find some weird behavior and you want to have some help, just create the reproduction code here and paste it on the Discord channel to ask a question, or open a file and issue on the Vue.js repository, and everyone will be so happy to see this. And it's just so quick. So if you haven't tried this yet, please go do it now. I mean, after this presentation, I think you're going to be amazed about this. Another feature is that API. We have redesigned this API page as well. So you can see all the Vue.js API here. And if you want to learn about the activity setups, and you just can find every single API. And there's a filter too. So if you want to find any create related API, you can just filter out everything and you can see this. For example, you create up, you go to API pages, and all the details are here. So, and I think this API documentation is a pretty massive content within software development. I mean, software documentation. Vue has really condensed and intense API documentation. So please go through this one again. I mean, just going through these index list, I think you will find a new API you didn't know before. And even if you're professional Vue users, I think there are a lot to learn from here. So that's the new features from the website and documentation, but also we redesigned another pages as well. For example, partners. We made more dedicated partner page. It's not like pure markdown. It has its own view, and we have themes. And this themes page, we already have this on Vue2 website as well. But if you haven't looked into this, please do so. We have lots of professional, high quality Vue template over here from our partners. So I think you will find a good template, and there's lots to see about it. So please check out the themes file. And also we have new theme page. Here we've added, I don't know why, oh, here it comes. So you can see all the core team members, and also we've added sponsor here. So if you want to sponsor Help Out Vue, an individual core team member, you can just click sponsors button, or even better, you can just click on every sponsor button. And if you find anyone that anyone to help, you can just go here and be a sponsor. Yes, so that's pretty much the I'm just going through pretty quickly here because I'm running out of time a little bit, but this is the new feature from the Vue website. So next, I just want to go quickly about tech stack and setups. Now we have two repos that build this website. One is Vue theme repo, and another one is Vue docs repo. So Vue theme repo is the VitePress theme for the official Vue website of Vuejs.org. And this theme is solely dedicated for Vuejs.org and isn't meant to be used for a content neutral theme. So this VitePress theme is the special theme just for Vuejs.org. Another one is Vue docs repo. And this repository is the actual content, like markdown documentation content that it uses for the Vuejs website. And I just want to tell you that if you want to contribute to the docs page, you should go to this Vue docs repo, which is here. This is the repository that hosts all the Vue.js documentation. So if you're navigating through a docs page, for example, like guide, and if you want to go to introduction, if you find any typos or if you have any suggestion to add or anything, you just go here, go into source code, and go to guide. And you can find this introduction. You can see this URL is pretty much one-to-one match to this source code structure. So if you can see this introduction, you can see all the contents here. So if you want to send out pull request, you can do it just clicking here on the edit this file button on the GitHub, or fork it and create a pull request. And as you can see, this docs folder is a pure VitePress website. It's not using VitePress default theme, but this website itself is built with just plain VitePress. So if you go into this VitePress config file, and you can find all the configs, but if you go into the theme folder and go into index.js, you can find that it's importing a VitePress theme from Vue theme package, which was I was talking previously. And this package, this is used for the whole Vue.js website theming, and which is this repository. You can find them at Vue.js/theme. And this theme is a Vue or VitePress theme folder. And how to go through this package is you go into source code, and if you go into index, you can just find out that it's just exporting all the core packages and VitePress package. And just go into quickly what we have in the core. In the core, for example, we have the CSS variables, like what kind of color we use, color schemes, and other like colors for the dividers, and we have font, or these kind of basic CSS files. Or if you go into components and go into icons, you can find all the icons we're using for the Vue website. And for example, if you go into this Vue switch, this is the component we use for this kind of switch. So this Vue theme repository contains all the basic theme file for Vue.js website. So if you're looking through the website and if you find any weird behavior, for example, like navigation bar, you find any undesired behavior over here and you want to fix them, you should go to theme folder, not docs folder. And if you go to theme folder, there is instruction on how to set up your local environment. So you need to clone both docs theme, docs repo, and also theme repo, and link them with PNPM. And you can, if you follow this step, you can boot up Vue.js website on your local machine with Vite. It's going to be crazy fast. So please take a look at this README if you find any thing that you want to add or help fixing on a Vue.js website. But if you just want to fix a documentation, you don't need to go to theme folder, theme package, sorry. You just have to come to this docs folder and find the documentation and make any adjustment you require. So that's the two repositories we have. But the question is, why do we have two separate repositories? Is because to make translations better. And that's another topic. So Vue.js documentation, one of the best things about Vue.js documentation is that it's translated to many other languages like Chinese, French, German, Japanese. So this is like massive translation going on. So in order to make these translations better, we've created new organization for translations, which is hosted on Vue.js Translation Organization. And we have the guideline for the translations on Vue.js Translations Organization, which you can find over here. Now, we have two different organizations. Before, all the translation, like official translation, was under Vue.js org, same as this theme file, but now we moved them to Vue.js Translations Organization. The reason why we did this is because most of the translation is led by local community members who are not really the Vue core team members, right? So whenever they try to add or remove people from their community, translation maintainers group, we need to ask Evan to add them to the Vue.js organizations. But, sorry, we think it's much better to just make this new organization and give the maintainers more control over the permissions and such, so they can drive the community from themselves. And if you go to guideline, you can see the guideline for the translations. And sorry, it's currently work in progress. It's not fully written everything here, but you can go to discussions and you can find all the upcoming translation discussion over here. So if you find any language of your language, just go here and join the discussion. And if you can find one, please create another one. So this is the translations. Now we also made a GitHub Actions Ducho, which is going to track the translation diffs from English to the translated documentation. This is the GitHub action that you can set up on any repository, not only the Vue.js repository, but you can set up a tracking branch and also the headstream branch. So for example, if we go into docs.js and we have lots of issues, but if we see the closed issues, this issues is created automatically by this Ducho package. And it shows that the English version of doc had a new commit on the branch, and it's automatically going to create new issues. And it's going to guide you to the commit, what kind of change was made to the English documentation, so you can apply the same changes to your local language differences. And if this diff doesn't contain any documentation, for example, if English documentation side made some changes on package.json, it's going to create a pull request automatically too. So I think this is going to help a lot for tracking English and translated documentation differences. And this is now maintained officially in the Vue.js translation, so every repository can use this. So I'm running out a lot of time, so I'm going to just be quick. But since new Vue.js website is solely dedicated for Vue website, it's not meant to be used as a VitePress theme, because Vue website has lots of pages where it's not really just the documentation, right? They have partner pages, themes pages, and those things, you usually don't need them on your simple Vue website. I mean, the documentation side. So what are we going to do with VitePress default theme? Are we going to keep the default theme as is, or are we going to new one? Yes, we are going to have new one, and this is the sneak preview of the new VitePress documentation default theme. And intentionally, we made this website looks different from Vue.js website because we didn't want to confuse the community with, if we have like lots of the exact same design as a Vue.js website on like everywhere, then it's going to be really confusing. Like, are we watching Vue.js website or are we watching some another different package? So we're hoping to have VitePress theme have like same look and feel with the Vue.js website because it's Vue product. So we have this basic color scheme or overall layout similar to what we have on Vue.js website, but obvious enough design that's a different, obvious enough to see that this is VitePress site, not the Vue.js website. And also, of course, the next VitePress theme will have dark theme. And we're still currently working on, but I'm trying to have better support for like translations and also version management. So if you have different version of the package, you might want to have different documentations. And it's kind of hard to do that with VitePress right now. And I don't think any library has very good support on versioning. So I'm keep thinking about how we can manage the different version of the docs, easily. I haven't come to any conclusions yet, but I'm trying to build in those things as well. So we only have this preview here, and it might change. And obviously, it's going to change for while we're developing this new theme. But please stay tuned, and I hope we can give you more news about VitePress in upcoming years. So sorry for taking your time too much, but thank you so much. That was a brief go through over the Vuejs org design. But now I think you know how to find the repository where the docs content is and where the theme contents are. So if you want to contribute to the documentation or the website itself, just go to GitHub and open an issue or send a pull request. And just by looking at those code base, it's written mainly with the Vue core team members, and also Evan has written so many codes on there. So I think you will find many interesting stuff just by looking into the source code. And I wanted to go into more about the code base, but I didn't have time. So if you have any questions or if you want to have any follow-ups and such, you can reach out to me on Twitter or on the Discord channel, and I will be more than happy to help you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tina. That's been an interesting insight into that web. And I wanted to know how long did it take the entire redesign? It sounds like a bigger enterprise to do that.
Oh yeah, well, I think, okay, let me go check. When was the refinement? Maybe I can find that on the Discord channel. Okay, the initial draft was introduced to the core members on February 18th of 2021. So it took like 1 year to do this.
A year, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought something like that, yes, maybe even more. All right, we have some from the audience. Elise asked, as you said, the loading of the live environment is very fast. How did you optimize this? If you can give us an overview.
Oh, you mean the performance of the website?
Yes.
Okay, I think you should. Yeah, you should go check. Is Evan's talk going to be available after this event, or?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so Evan has described, explained all about this performance, like how we manage this website to become so quick. And there are lots of special things we do. For example, we lazy load some of the components, or the VitePress do very good job on static site generation and so on. And Evan did go through some details about that too. So if you can find his talk content after this event, you have to watch that, and you will learn everything about it.
Yes, I think in the afternoon, well, for us in the afternoon, there will be a restream of this, and I believe sometime in the future, all of this will be available.
Great.
For free. Somewhere, Joost comes in and corrects me if this is not right. All right, question: What's the difference between VitePress how is VitePress different from Nuxt content?
Okay. I think this is a good question, and I don't want to confuse everybody too much, but I will say VitePress is much simpler than Nuxt content, which doesn't mean VitePress is better than Nuxt content, anything, but it's just much simpler. So, for example, if you want to create like simple documentation website, you just want to have simple markdown, that's it. That's what VitePress can do by default for you. But Nuxt content has much more like massive features built on top of Nuxt content. And of course, you can create a simple website or documentation site with Nuxt content, but you can do much better like API fetching, data fetching from the external server and such. It's built into Nuxt content. While VitePress, you can still do that, but you have to do it yourself. There's no official way to call API on VitePress and how to actually statically generate that content on the server side. But Nuxt content handles that as well. So if you want to create more like blog site or more complex website easily, I think you should be using Nuxt content. And if you want to create more simple or bare minimal Vue setup static site generation site, you should go to VitePress. Or if you want to create those complicated features by yourself, I think VitePress will be a better fit because VitePress is super simple. It only has Vue components, so you can do whatever with it. So I think that's the big difference between VitePress and Nuxt content.
Yeah, it depends on the use case, right?
Yeah.
All right, we have from Daniel. It's not a question, but he just wanted to say that he started using VitePress for internal components and composables, and he thinks that it's amazing.
Thank you so much. I think so too.
Then we have from Kawak. It's interesting to have your docs website in a separate repo, or is a mono repo containing docs and other packages fine? He thinks it's mainly preference, or are there other characteristics?
This is a very good question. And I think it's more of a requirement rather than preference. If you have very simple documentation and if you have simple software, I think you should start with monorepo, because the big benefits about monorepo, having your source code and documentation in the same repository, is that whenever you add new features to the software, you can also add documentation to the same pull request. So you can always update the code itself and also the documentation and publish them together. And it's going to be much easier and to detect the software update. Sometimes you update software, but documentation is not getting updated, and it's going to confuse people. So I think whenever you can, having docs on the same repo is better. But Vue is too huge to do that, right? We have so many different translations, and source code itself is super big, and documentation itself is also super big. And in this kind of case, having these two in the same place is just going to crowd things up so much. And also, we have lots of issues coming to the documentation, right? And we have lots of issues opening for the software itself. So from the point of view of managing the issues and pull requests, it's also better to separate docs and software. But again, for the small software, I think it's much better to have it in one repo. At least you should start from monorepo. And if you get too overwhelming about issue management and code structure management, then I think you can gradually separate those websites and maintain differently.
Right. He says, thanks you. That's a solid answer. All right. Someone asked or is concerned about will it be possible to link icons like Discord, Twitter, and so on in VitePress? I suppose if you can import something like an icon library, like Font Awesome or something. That's how I understood you.
So you want to import like Font Awesome on VitePress website?
Yes.
I would say
suppose.
yes, you can. You can add any head tag, like scripts link or CSS link in VitePress config, so you can load whatever things you want. For example, if you want like Google Fonts loaded, you can do that. And if you have any like specific thing that you want to do and you don't know how to do it, maybe you can ask question on the Discord and someone can guide you through the process, I think.
Right, there are some more questions, but I think we are running out of time. So I can't. Sorry, everyone. I can't bring all the questions up. There were so many great questions. Thank everyone for the questions. Also, thank you, Kia, for answers and of course for your talk. It's been very enlightening, and I really hope to see you around.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for the community members. This was wonderful, and hope to see you soon on another Vuejs Amsterdam. Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, so our next speaker is, I hope I right, Joaquin Jiang. He is going to talk about new scaffolding in Vite NPM. So take it away, Joaquin.
Thank you so much for sponsoring ABN AMRO.
Hi everyone, welcome to my Vuejs Amsterdam talk. Today I'm going to introduce you to a new way of creating Vue projects. First, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Haoqun Jiang, and I'm a member of both the Vue and Vite core team. As a full-time open source developer, my day job is to help Vue users connect the dots in the quickly evolving web tooling space. I help maintain and contribute to several open source projects related to Vue.js project creation and bundling. My GitHub username is SodaT, and my Twitter handle is Haoqun Jiang. In the new Vue.js documentation websites, we recommend new users to start a Vue project with npm init Vue at latest. It is our latest generation of Vue.js scaffolding tools. If you have experience with Vue CLI, you might wonder, why does the default recommendation change? What benefits does it bring compared to previous versions of tools such as Vue CLI? Today, hopefully, my talk can answer that question for you. First of all, it is a brand new experience. It is easy to use because we assume that in most front-end developers' computer, there are already Node.js and npm installed. So with this new tool, you don't have to install any additional tools, just one single command, and a project is ready to use. And it is fast, very fast. Let me show that with a demo. In a typical process of creating a new project, we just type npm init Vue at 3 in the command line. And if it's the first time you install, you run this command, npm will ask you to install the create Vue package, and let's answer yes to that. And in less than 1 minute, the create Vue package is installed and we're ready to go. In this demo, I'm gonna answer every question with the default answer. That is, the name is Vue project, and we answer no to every prompt. And that's it. The project is created, and let's cd to that and run and install the dependencies, and then we're ready to go. Yes, in less than 20 seconds, we have the a project up and running. That's it. It's so fast because we made the create view, the underlying tool, very, very concise. Let's check that with the command npm info create view. As you can see here, there's no dependency of this package. And the package size itself is also very small. Let's run that with the npx download size create view. And we can see here that the create view package itself is only a little bit over 50 kilobytes. So with this, when you run the command npm init view, you actually, the npm CLI actually only sends 2 network requests, one to fetch the metadata of the package and one to download the package. The two combined are less than 100 kilobytes, and 100 kilobytes, that's smaller than today's typical average web pages. Nevertheless, the tool create view is battery included. Let's review the scaffolding process again to take a closer look at each of the prompts. This time we'll call the project Vue.js full-featured template. And you can see the command line first prompts for language features such as TypeScript and JSX, and then tools for developing single-page applications, that is Vue.router and the state management tool Opinion. And then we have we can configure testing tools such as vtest for headless unit testing and VitePress for real browser end-to-end testing. And then there's ESLint and Prettier. Yeah, it's now ready to use, and let's install the dependencies and lint the package with Prettier and ESLint. And that's it. The project is ready to go. This covers the most common features in you need, whether you are developing a single-page application or multi-page app, a website. One thing that's very important is that we make sure that every feature is opt-in. You don't need any of this to start a Vue project, but when you do need it, we make sure it's very easy to use. Now let's see the actual template in action. And here it is. Most noticeably, this project uses Vite. This is because Vite reduces complexity in front-end tooling. Now you don't have to learn both the CLI tool and the underlying build tool to customize your configuration. And the Vite configuration itself is quite straightforward. With the define config helper, you can get type hints and explanations for each of the option fields, and Vite itself is framework agnostic, so we need to install, to import and initialize the Vue and the Vue.js plugin, and that's it. No additional configuration is required. Of course, as a convention, Vue projects often have the alias @ for the source folder. And here, because Vite config files are ES modules, so in case you you are not familiar with the ES module limitations in Node.js, we set up an example to show you that how to use the import.meta.url to replace the old style dir name or file name in Node.js, CommonJS modules. But that's not required. That's just a nice to have thing. A Vue project only needs the Vue plugin. Even the Vue.js plugin is opt-in. This template also includes every latest recommendation from the Vue.js team. For example, we recommend Pinia for state management. So here's an example of Pinia store. And for IDE and editor, we recommend you to use VS Code and Vola and the TypeScript plugin of Vola. So it's documented in the generated README and also in the VS Code extensions recommendations. Here are some other things that I think you might be interested in after creating the project. The first and most noticeable is the new default template, the new landing page. It supports dark mode and it is beautiful, responsive, and includes most of the links that you might need when developing a Vue.js project. It was designed and implemented by another Vue core team member, Fan An. The implementation uses the latest features in Vue 3.2. For example, the script setup syntax. With that, the components imported in the script setup block are automatically exposed to the template section so that you just import the welcome component here and you can just directly use it in the template section. No need to return a component field. Also, the script setup syntax allows you to define your exposed properties of a component Vue a single file component with the define properties helper. And if you are using the TypeScript language, you can define the property interface with TypeScript interface. For example, here, the message is, we define the message with the TypeScript type screen, and Vue automatically recognize that and convert it to a runtime stream validation. The other noticeable improvement is the more accurate TS config. In a typical front-end project written in TypeScript, though all the source files are written in TS, they might run in different contexts. For example, the ones used under the source folder are expected to be bundled by Vite and run in the browser. So they might have some Vite-specific syntaxes and expected browser globals such as Windows Self, etc. But here comes the subtlety. The Vite config file is also written in TS, but it is read by Vite and run by Node instead of running in a real browser. And if you choose VTest for unit testing, VTest is actually runs in Node, and the DOM environment is provided by JS DOM, not a real browser. And making things more complex is the Cypress configuration. Cypress plugins are Node modules. On the other hand, the spec files of Cypress runs in a browser environment controlled by Cypress. So these are all different contexts. They expected they expect different kind of type hints and type checking. So we make use of the TypeScript feature called solution style tsconfig, which includes references to sub-project configurations from the root tsconfig so that all these modules can get their correct context respectively. For example, we have add Node and vtest tabs to the vite.config and Node and JSWORLD tab to the vtest unit testing spec files. And here are the CyPress E2E spec configurations and the CyPress plugins config. Let me show you the differences in action. For example, in vite.config.js, because it runs in Node.js environment, it can't access browser globals such as window. If you type window here, it will TS will prompt that it cannot find the name window. But you can do that in source main.ts. And because it runs in Node, so it accesses environment variables in the Node.js way, that is process.env. On the other hand, in Vite, we recommend users to use environmental variables, access environmental variables with import.meta.env.baseURL. These are different syntaxes in different contexts. And that's for the more accurate tsconfig. Finally, there's the question that how do you update the templates after project creation? Previously in Vue CLI, the project update process is controlled by the command Vue upgrade. It upgrades the project dependencies and the project code for you. But that turns out not maintainable to us because users may have modified the project in their own way, and the CLI migrator cannot cover every edge case. So the migrator eventually fails to match the user needs and becomes useless in many cases. So now in Create Vue, we don't try to control the whole process for you. We now have a snapshot for each snapshot repository that stores all the possible generated templates for each version of the tool. You can view on GitHub for your choices of the features. For example, if you choose JSX and Pinia, here's the JSX Pinia template for you. And it preserves the history of each version of the Create Vue package. And you can see the different diffs on GitHub and update your projects respectively, accordingly. And actually, it is okay to not follow the updates on the snapshots very closely, because the scaffolding tool, Create Vue, and the build tool, Vite, are separate projects. The build tool, Vite, it is a mature project with that follows semantic versioning. So as long as there are no major version bumps, your project can continue to work. The Create Vue project, on the other hand, updates whenever we think there's a new best practice for Vue projects and want to introduce that to all our users. So it's more like the recommendations instead of a mandatory guide. So if you are interested in best practices in Vue.js tooling, welcome to watch the updates and or join the discussions in the repo. But if you are not, it's okay to only open the project occasionally to see if there's anything changed. And that's it for my talk. Hope you enjoy coding with Vue. Thanks.
All right. I hope everyone enjoyed this by Joaquin. And so our next speaker is going to be Daniel Danielecki. He is a software engineer at Capgemini. And he's going to talk about TypeScript in combination with Vue. Vue comes out of the box with script compiler option. It only accounts for several TypeScript stricter compiler options. So this talk will showcase some cases where there might be problems showing up. So give it up for Daniel.
Thank you, Balsamiq, for sponsoring this event.
Hey, my name is Daniel, and I will be talking about TypeScript strict compile options, especially in the Vue ecosystem. And that's the talk for the JSWORLD conference, February 2022. The QR code you can see here, as if you have any further question after this talk, just to reach out to me via LinkedIn. However, if you want to do it via Twitter, just hit me up there as well. I will also reply. Okay, so let's start with a little background or some facts. Namely, Airbnb in their post-mortem concluded that they could avoid 38% of bugs if they would implement TypeScript, and this not even with the strict rules. Actually, we don't know which exactly rules they want to apply, but I suppose it's just about the general rules. And we could even imagine that the number could have been higher if they would implement fully strict rules, or at least majority of them, or at least stricter than the default one. So this is what Airbnb says, or Reddit says. However, that's not only what we can find online. There was even a research paper done by University College London Microsoft Research researchers, and they have concluded both Flow and TypeScript. That time it was 2.0. I believe the research dates on 2017 or 18. Now we have TypeScript 4.5, and Flow is not that, it's, let's say, less popular than it was that time. They have concluded 15% of bugs could have been detected. So here we can see the numbers. Here we have 38, on the other number we have 15. Let's say 25 would be the market consensus. That's a big number, and that's the little background of why we are having this talk.
Thank you so much to all the sponsors for sponsoring this event. Sourcegraph, Progress Software, Uber, Cloudinary, Passionate People, Storyblock, The Graph, and Clio. Thank you so much.